Hello everybody, welcome back to the Game & Muscle YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that like button if you enjoy filthy tyres and even filthier race cars. Because in this video, we're going to be talking about the force feedback settings in Dirt Rally 2.0. Codemasters, in all their wisdom, have managed to release Dirt 2.0 with rather funky force feedback and some force feedback stuff missing. Now, before we go into the game itself and talk about our force feedback settings in the game, for those of you who just want to tweak it on the game side, what I'm quickly going to go over is a quick fix for those of you with some of the Thrustmaster wheels and some of the wheels on the market where the force feedback just seems totally balked and you're wondering what's going on. So we're going to go through this super quickly, and then the game settings for those of you that have it kind of working in game but just want it tweaking a little bit or just want to know what we're using. So to do this quick fix, for those mostly Thrustmaster people, you need to go to your Steam folder where you've installed Dirt Rally 2. In my case, it's Steam Apps, Steam Apps, Common, and then Dirt Rally 2.0, and then you want to go to the input folder on the Dirt Rally 2.0 directory, and then you want to go to Devices, and then you'll see there's a file, an XML file called device_defines.xml. You want to open this with Notepad, or if you're a pro Neo in the Matrix hacker, you're going to open it with Notepad++, which is a free Notepad program that's absolutely awesome. My favourite Notepad program. You know, it's good to know that. I often chat up women by telling them about my favourite Notepad program, and that gets them aroused. So once you've opened this up, you might be like, oh my god, what is all this text? I'm not Data from Star Trek, I can't read all this, bloody hell. Don't worry, this isn't complicated at all. It's just a list of all the supportive controllers for Dirt Rally 2.0, and then some of their options for the force feedback settings, dampening and what have you. So if your wheel is having problems, you're going to look through the list, find your wheel on there. So say say you've got the, let's pick one. Here we go. Say you've got the Thrustmaster T500 here. You'd look for that, and it'll be TM T500. There you go, and you'll see all this stuff here. Now, what a lot of people have found is if they set this value, the FFB force equals quotation value, to 5, then that actually gives them a good amount of strength in the game, and it seems to resolve a lot of the problems. Once you've changed that, you do have to make sure you save the file. Now, you might notice some of the wheels on here don't actually have this FFB force equals bit of text after them. So, for example, the Thrustmaster T80 does not have that value there. So you could, if you want to, try copying the FFB force bit of text and just plock it in there, and then you can edit this value to your heart's desires, and it'll work as if it was there originally. Just so you know, really you probably don't want to go above 8. The higher the number, the stronger that the force feedback force is. Round about 5 seems about right from the little bit of testing I've done with some of the wheels that I've got my hands on. A lot of them are also, if you look at it, a lot of the wheels have the default value at 0.9. Now, you might not even have to do any of this. You might not have to worry about it. Might not be a problem. But changing that value for your wheel, saving it, and then loading into the game has had good results for lots of people. So I've been told by many people on the internet, many of our subscribers. Now, if you've got a direct drive wheel, what you need to do to actually get force feedback working is get some files and drag them into the game folder and set it up separately. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but I'll put a link in the top comment or in the description to a video explaining how to get a direct drive wheel to work with the game for those of you that want to do that. You can use this force feedback force setting with the direct drive wheel. As you see, I've got my direct drive wheel up here, but I found I didn't need it because it just came up at the right strength anyway in game. Woo! Right, save that, close that, that's that done. Let's get into Dirt Rally 2.0 and let's go through the in-game settings. Now, I have to say, I think Codemasters have basically, I don't think they've finished the force feedback on Dirt Rally 2.0. It does appear that the game only has self-aligning force feedback. It doesn't have the proper suspension force feedback or the tyre flex and tyre information, understeer force feedback that you find in both Dirt Rally 4 and Dirt Rally 2.0. So I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully there'll be an update soon and that'll be fixed. To test the force feedback, I'm just going to load into a stage. I really recommend this. If you're going to fiddle with the force feedback, go to a stage, just a short one, and go for a car like the Subaru. Do it in the free play mode, and then you can tweak the force feedback settings and go backwards and forwards. Hopefully this loads quickly. We haven't got too much time. Hopefully RaceNet isn't doing the RaceNet shenanigans. I'm not sure what it is with Codemasters, but they have done some things that are a little bit bizarre with this game. With always on, having to connect to the internet all the time to access RaceNet, even in the single player. And then you do have moments like this where, you know, why is the menu taking an additional time to load there to communicate to a server when we're doing something that's literally completely offline? Codemasters! What can you do, though? At its core, this is a really fun game to play, though. I think they've done a really good job with the handling. I found just loading up stages and just on the free play mode, just loading it up with the Subaru Impreza and bashing through a stage, you can get into the game pretty quickly, assuming RaceNet's working, and just have some really nice, really fun belting a rally car on some dirt track, and because the physics are nice in this, you know, that's in many ways that's good enough for me. It might not be for a lot of people, but driving a car off road with nice physics is absolutely delightful. Right, so options, input, force feedback. So you're going to find your wheel on here. You'll see it comes up. Hopefully you can set up the actual left and right and everything. Go to the vibration, force feedback and vibration settings. You need to make sure that vibration and force feedback is indeed turned on. That's a good idea. But as I say, because tyre slip, engine, even the suspension stuff doesn't seem to be working properly, it all really just comes down to the self-aligning torque, and that is basically the tendency for the force feedback to try and straighten the car up to the direction that the car most wants to go in. Basically, there's a path of least resistance. So when you're turning, the car will automatically try and correct itself until the car's going back in a straight line, essentially. All the force feedback is really just self-aligning torque. With my wheel, I've got it set on 100, and then I've set wheel friction to 5. Now, wheel friction is basically just dampening. From my messing around, it's just dampening. So really, you kind of want the dampening as low as possible. If you're using like a T300, a G29, G25, CSL Elite, any of those wheels, you really want to just turn the dampening in game down pretty much off, to be honest, because those wheels already have a degree of dampening built into them, and then just fiddle around with the self-aligning torque to a value that you find makes you happy in terms of the amount of strength. Bear in mind, real-world rally cars don't have ridiculously strong force feedback. You shouldn't be like wrestling the steering. It should be like, oh, I'm Hulk Hogan, turn left and right. God, I've dated myself there. It should be like a delicate flow when you're getting into the vehicle through the corners, and there's videos of real-world rally cars accidentally pulling the steering wheel off the car and driving with the steering column with their wrist. If a rally car had like 20 newton meters of torque, or even 15, they're not going to be doing that without breaking their wrist. So really, it's a case of getting as much information out of it as possible. With my wheel, which is a direct drive wheel, I found just having this on 100, I wouldn't go over 100 because that seems to introduce clipping in some cases. And clipping is where you basically just get a solid noise signal out of the game with no subtle information or nuance to it. So keeping it below 100 and just turn this up and down depending on how strong you want the force feedback to be. And then wheel friction, probably set it to off on most wheels, or just set it as low as possible. You might want to experiment with it to add a little bit of dampening, but it's pretty much subjective. Collision, I would turn down. It doesn't seem to be doing that much, to be honest. Normally when you hit into a wall, the collision shakes the wheel a bit. You probably want that turned down because you don't want to have like a big jolt making it harder to drive when you've accidentally tapped something. I mean, I don't know what's more or less realistic, but it's kind of up to you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say if you're using a Fanatec wheel, like a CSL Elite PlayStation 4, I've tested this with that. Pretty much the same settings I've got here. It's just a case of tweaking the strength setting on here to your sort of personal preference. I I did find on the Fanatec wheel, setting the drift setting to either -2 or -3 was a really nice, made sense for the input. And then in terms of the actual wheel rotation value, the actual degrees of lock, you can, let's just put this back to 100. You can set the wheel up. You go back here. You press F2 for the device options. You calibrate your device, and then you can set your wheel rotation value on here, so it all lines up properly, and so the in-game steering wheel lines up properly with your wheel. I have found though, with my OSW, and this might be the case with the Thrustmaster wheels, the T300, TSPC Race, and what have you, that 450 degrees in the profiler seems to be the right value to set the actual rotation out for it to line up nicely almost by default. That seems to be the right amount of rotational degrees to what you'd likely have many rally cars generally set up to. Again, aspects of this are subjective to if you like your steering, if you like to have a lot of turn on your steering, or you like it to be tighter. In a real car, you can adjust the steering lock in many ways, and the steering rack sensitivity and everything. So again, it's subjective, a lot of it. But hopefully those force feedback settings help you get driving and enjoying. Do you know what? I was just going to stop this, but I'm going to blast this Subaru around this short track because I have to. One thing I've noticed with the controllers, unfortunately, the handbrake comes up as a button. I haven't worked out a way to get the handbrake to... I haven't got the handbrake to come up as a analog handbrake yet, which would be really handy. Because just having a binary button for a handbrake isn't exactly ideal. Sometimes you just want to gently pop the back of the car out. But oh man, it's so nice just getting into the flow of this car. I found especially in the daylight on the Australian and New Zealand tracks, it's just really nice. And I mean, this is the only time I get sunshine myself in computer games, because it's always raining in the UK. Well, actually, it was sunny today, so I'm lying. But I wanted to complain about the weather in a video, so... Once you've got the force feedback set up nicely, you will see it just sort of comes together. You can just flow with the car. It's not a struggle. You just get into things. You really should not be wrestling the car through the track. It should be like just delicate and nice. Go and watch some Colin McRae onboards. What a legend. Or any of them, Sebastian Loeb, but Colin McRae with these older cars. They're a lot more, the older sort of 90s and early 2000s rally cars are sort of a lot more loose and slidey, much more wide angles, because they didn't quite have the, they're all-wheel drive, but they didn't have them quite hooked up to the same extent. So it's more of a, I think it's more of a dancey way to drive cars. For me, that's more of a, that's a nicer way for it to go, you know. That's why I've got a bit of a soft spot for this. Now, those of you that are knowledgeable will know I'm driving flappies in. This car had this car used a H-pattern gearbox, so broken the rules. I just happened to have the flappies set up. So apologies for that lack of authentic driving there. Oh man. The amount of cattle I've let loose in this game by hitting fences. They really have nailed the weight of the cars. This is so much better. I really hope that Codemasters don't move away from these physics. I mean, I don't think they're perfect, the physics in this, but they're more than good enough. And hopefully, following on from this Dirt Rally 2.0, Codemasters go, right, we've done a good job with the physics now. It's good enough. More than good enough. Let's just literally pump out locations for this game, because locations are what, you know, the majority of what makes a rally game after the handling. Oh, look at that. I have found actually what's really nice is using the staying on the brake a bit longer. Whoops. Whoops-a-daisy. Sorry. Sorry, Colin. Oh, no, we beached it. Let's reposition ourselves here. Recover vehicle. Staying on the brakes a bit longer through the corners. And then with a little bit of throttle. I think with the brake bias on the rear, what that does is it causes the front hook up more. And you can use that to sort of pull yourself through corners in a way. Oh, I've lost the flow now. Don't want to lose the flow. We'll have to do a video talking about good ways to drive in this. This is just a force feedback settings video. Where we've actually gone away from force feedback settings and just gone into driving the car. Because why not? Why not, guys? I really hope, though, that they get the other... They need to get the suspension stuff worked out and the understeer and the load stuff worked out. Because in Dirt Rally, that's super, super handy. The original Dirt Rally is really handy for you to know when you get on the brakes if you're at the point of locking up. Now, with the current force feedback, you only really know if you're locking up by the fact that the car, from the sound, and the fact the car's just going in a straight line. So, it's harder than it needs to be. But, day one patch, Codemasters. There's a lot of things they need to get in the day one patch, but that's the hope. But there you go. I hope that helps you guys out that are looking to get your force feedback set up, that were having troubles with it. Let's put it back on the screen there, in case you've forgotten. I mean, you don't want centering force on or centering spring or anything, because that just returns the wheel to the center without any like information from the game. It's just like a canned spring. It's like, why would you want that? So there you go, guys. Thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed the impromptu rally stage, and I will see you guys very soon indeed when we'll be live streaming. We'll be live streaming later tonight. Most nights we do live streaming, so click the subscribe button, hit the like button. Take care, and goodbye, everyone.